In days gone by, the three of us could have met in a bar because we are all recovering alcoholics or people in long-term recovery, which is a more preferred way to talk about it, right?
I'm not as long-term as you guys.
Well, people in recovery.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I don't know, but alcoholic. I hate the word, but that's what I am. So welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm Randall Carlisle, your host, my co-host Nicole Slack, and my guest is Daniel Wright.
Yes.
Am I right with that?
Dan Wright.
Daniel Wright. And you are a recovering alcoholic,
yes.
Right? I found it interesting. I talked to you on the phone yesterday, and you told me that you were a self-admit to Odyssey. Not court-ordered, you just needed to come in.
I've had legal issues before, but yeah, I'm on my own this time.
What obviously alcoholism brought you to Odyssey, but why did you decide that you needed to come in?
I was living in Phoenix and lost my job, and my boss was paying for my place to stay. And I lost that job, had to come back to Utah, 'cause this is where I'm from, and basically had nowhere else to go. So Odyssey took me in.
And how long have you been in Odyssey?
July 2nd.
Not that you're counting.
Yeah, I know the exact day, but not the numbers.
Describe what alcoholism did to your life.
Well, I'd probably be married with a family and a white picket fence if I wasn't an alcoholic. But yeah, I've lost several jobs, good women in my life. Like my father and uncle both passed away from alcohol. And just slowed down progression in life, basically.
When did it start? Mine started at, I think I had my first drink at 14, and I thought, this is a wonderful feeling, and I can be social with people, and I can talk to girls easier this way. When did yours start?
I was probably 14, 15, about the same age. Then through high school, progressed like the average alcoholic, probably. A lot of parties on weekends, and then when I turned 21, worked at a bar, started drinking every night, and just progressed into where I needed it every day.
So for how many years did that happen?
I've drank every day since I was probably 18.
And you're how old now?
I'm 41 now.
That's a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
Is Odyssey House the first time you've done any sort of rehab?
It's my third treatment now.
Okay.
So last 2 years I've been in and out of treatment, do good for a while, then start drinking again and start over.
Well, I always use the excuse, I went through 4 marriages, so I experienced some of what you've talked about. And I always, and every one of my wives would say, you're an alcoholic. And I'd say, no, I just drink a lot. When did you recognize the fact that you are an alcoholic?
Probably around my first DUI. I was like 26. And I noticed, I was drinking before work, during work, and just every waking moment I would always have a beer.
You know why?
Made just socialize, just made me feel normal, act normal, I guess.
It just becomes routine.
Yeah, it was so routine. Like, I had one girlfriend, I always had a beer I'd keep next to the bed. She called it my comfort beer because I always had to have a beer in my hand, like at all times.
For when you woke up in the morning?
When I woke up, yeah, anytime I was awake, I was drinking beer. Unless I was at work. But then I'd still sneak beer at work and stuff all the time, too.
So what made you decide that you needed some kind of help?
DUIs, I've had seizures. I think I had my first seizure about 5 years ago.
Really?
I've had 7 that I'm aware of. But when you have them, you kind of go into a time warp and you forget your name. I think I've had them when I'm by myself, but I've had at least 7 where there have been other people there to tell me I had it. But even then, I don't believe them. So
How did you detox this time?
I went to the Huntsman Mental Health Institute.
That's where I went to detox. Yes. Hey, we have something in common.
Yeah, and I've been to medical detox 4 times, twice at the U and twice at LDS Hospital.
What people don't realize is that detoxing from alcohol is more deadly than detoxing from anything else, I think. Than
Alcohol
heroin
and
or meth
benzos, I believe, are hand in hand.
You know,
I believe it's barbiturates, benzos.
Benzos.
alcohol.
Xanax and
benzos could be deadly as well.
yeah.
So how's it going at the house? How are you liking it?
It's a bit of a circus. There's a lot of people there,
Yeah.
but
You get used to it though.
yeah, I guess organized chaos.
Yeah.
I get by, but it's not a country club by any means.
Yeah. It's work.
Yeah, it is. That's all day, every day.
But I hear you're doing very well.
I've managed to do what I'm told. Oh, yeah, just follow the rules. If you follow the rules, it's not that hard.
But are you buying in? I guess the key that the people who seem to succeed in the program are people who get to the root cause of why you were doing it, and then how you can change your behavior so you don't do it again. Are you picking that up, or is that making?
Slowly, yeah, not quite as much as I would like, but through therapy and classes that we sometimes get, I'm trying.
I found it hard in groups to be totally honest and share my real feelings. Have you experienced anything like that, or are you totally open in groups?
I'm open enough. I mean, there's some things you don't need to tell a whole group of people you've known for a couple months. Like, I've done some dumb shit in my life, so I don't need to tell that to everybody.
Were you open and honest in groups?
I was in the beginning. In the beginning, I was like, I have nothing to lose. I'm never going to see these people again. So here's every wild thing.
Really?
And then as I advanced, I was like, maybe people don't need to know everything. And by the time I got to the Voyager program, I got a client of the week for opening up. And I was like, okay, maybe I've gone too far to the other way where I actually opened up and got like an award for it. But in the beginning, I was open book. Anything anyone would ask me.
What you said you've gone through several programs. What do you have any idea what causes your relapse?
Stress, women, old friends. I think I can manage it, and always within a few months, I'm back to drinking every day.
What's the longest you've gone being sober?
Probably about a year, but I was in jail part of that time, and then I had an alcohol monitor on my ankle.
Oh, okay.
So had I been on my own, I probably would have been drinking like a chunk of that time.
How does it feel?
Feel way better.
You're going on 3 months?
Mid-June,
Okay.
I quit. I think towards the end of June, I went to the detox, and then I've been at Odyssey since. So
And you're feeling good?
yeah, a lot better. Your brain clears up. You start thinking more clearly. You feel way better if you start taking care of yourself.
I found my brain continued to clear, I think, for several years, because I had been a functional alcoholic for over 40 years. And as things became clearer, I found myself being more patient with people, more caring with people, and more observant of what's going on in the world. Does any of that click in your mind with sobriety?
Yeah, you're a lot more patient in that house. You have to be.
Yeah, well,
Kind of in a bubble, so I don't get to watch the news as much as I would like, but I've always tried to stay. I mean, you're a reporter, so you've always obviously known about current events.
yeah, and I would be going through severe withdrawal if I couldn't watch the news every day. So that's one thing I'm addicted to. I even canceled our family support group for the presidential debate so I could watch that. So, well, patience. You would agree patience is necessary in the Odyssey program.
Yes, you're dealing with 80 personalities that were brought up 80 different ways and having to get off drugs and alcohol and coexist in a house.
It's a daily grind.
Yeah. So you've been in Odyssey. What treatment centers have you done before?
I did Epic, Valley Mental Health, and then a place called Diamond Tree.
How's Odyssey different?
Well, Diamond Tree was more bougie, I guess. Yeah, chef.
It's a luxury place.
It wasn't a country club either, but it was a lot fewer people and seemed a little bit more one-on-one.
Yeah.
And Epic is similar in a lot of ways. Seemed,
Is it more therapeutic community?
yeah. And like Odyssey, it's kind of run by the clients, yeah. So
With professionals at the top.
watching and keeping the other clients in line, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And
I was going to ask, do you think that you're able to work on things? Because it sounds like it was such an everyday thing and it's just how you lived. I just don't know how are you feeling about moving past that? Like every single day, and I hope I'm not like triggering, but
Oh, you're fine.
do you see yourself in like a life where you're not drinking like that every day? And
I don't have a choice because I'm all or nothing. I've been a functioning alcoholic most of my life. But I always eventually go off the deep end and start losing jobs and messing up relationships.
what's the plan after Odyssey?
I'm going to do the sober living. I think I'm going to try to do the Voyager thing because I want to hit the ground running and start working full time.
Yeah.
I lost a car, so I'm going to have to rely on public transportation.
That's fun.
So,
Get the app.
yeah.
Just saying.
Unfortunately, I know.
That's good though. That's a good plan. What did you do for work right before Odyssey?
I'm a plumber,
Okay.
so I can find a job. It's just getting up and going to work and not drinking before work and not being hungover and stuff.
yeah, there's a huge demand for the job. So did people complain about the fact that you were out on a job drunk?
I wouldn't drink when I was a plumber. I wouldn't drink before work as often, but I'd get coworkers that would warn me, kind of nudge me, say, "What the hell are you doing? You smell like booze." But that's just because I would drink till 2 a.m. the night before, wake up, maybe pound a beer, and go to work.
Sure sounds familiar. Yeah. It's like, and can you picture yourself? I had trouble, and first time around, I said to myself, okay, I'm never going to drink again, and then I thought, for the rest of my life, I don't know that I can do that, and then the second time around, when I went through treatment, I got a sponsor in AA, and he said, don't look at like 30 years from now. You still won't be drinking. Just look. And I know it sounds so trite, but it's one day at a time. And when you look at it like that, for an alcoholic like me, it was easier for me to say, okay, I can do it today. And then at the end of the day, say, okay, I did it today. Now I'm going to work on tomorrow. And then it begins to add up. And then you start thinking about it less. But
Yeah.
it was like, no way, I'm not going to drink for the rest of my life.
That's too much.
I know.
Yeah.
And so many just events in life are revolved around alcohol, weddings, going to jazz games, just going fishing, going camping. Kind of puts in perspective, what the hell am I going to do when I, instead of drink when I go out with friends and family.
Well, you just have to. I've found you just have to you just have to think differently.
Yeah.
It's weddings, and I didn't used to go to Mormon weddings because there wasn't any booze. So, but now I'm very comfortable going to LDS weddings. But I found you can negotiate events like that where other people are drinking. Like you say, the jazz game. I don't know what percentage would be up there buying the $8 beers or whatever, but I bet, there's an equal amount of people who aren't.
Yeah. Like I've been to concerts sober and seen how people act and known, like, I know that's been me several times.
And what I found, the more sobriety I found, is when I'd go to parties with old friends and not get drunk and watch them getting drunk, I'd say stuff to my whichever wife it was at the time. I'd say, what's so funny that they're all laughing at? And she'd say, nothing.
Yeah.
And she'd say, but you were laughing along with them because you were drunk as well. And the other observation was they kept repeating the same stories over and over and over again. And everybody would laugh over and over and over again. And,
Yeah. Talking about your glory days, yeah.
But when you're sober, it's a different thing. But you just have to learn to negotiate that. I noticed when I asked you about your relapses, you pointed to things that you blamed for your drinking, like a girl or a job or whatever. And are you learning to not blame something else for your drinking?
It's all on me. I get that 100%. I can't blame anybody for what I do to my body or put in, so I take 100% credit for where I'm at.
Good.
And no, yeah, it's not up to anybody to keep me from acting like an adult.
And the other thing I learned is that drinking over something like that, like a girl dumping you or whatever, it doesn't change the outcome, and it doesn't hurt them. It hurts you.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's just doing one event at a time and one thing at a time sober to figure that out, just to take it all on. I think that's too much.
Do you have a plan for long-term sobriety?
AA and just sober friends, family. I have a lot of people that support me and know how good I can do when I'm sober. And just got to weed out the friends that only want to party.
It's wild, though, how many people relapse just connecting with old friends. It's such a simple thing. You connect with old friends and get right back into old habits.
And then when you hang out with those old friends, you have nothing to talk about if you're sober.
That's true. And I had to do the same thing. And because I used to go to bars on weekends and watch games and stuff with friends, and we'd all get drunk. And I cut them off when I first got sober because I knew I didn't have the strength to go sit there and watch a full football game and have them drink, and I couldn't. And pretty soon they stopped calling, And now when I run into them, it's interesting what you said. You didn't have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
They were drinking friends. Yeah. They weren't real friends.
I think all I did when I drank was talk about old times.
Yeah, just reminisce on your glory days.
Yeah, the whole time. So now it's just like, I guess I don't have to repeat that story again. And
yeah,
you just learn to just go do something and not just talk about what you have done.
And you find out who your real friends are.
Mm-hmm. And do new things. I don't do things I used to do because I did them drinking and I don't want to do that. And maybe that's the only way I know how to do that. So now I just have to do new things and find new hobbies.
My old drinking friends have told me I'm not much fun anymore, but my real friends have told me they like me a lot better sober.
That sounds like my friends and family too.
So those are the ones to pursue,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's easy to make actual real connections when you're sober. Like you find out the people you do want to be around, the ones you don't want to be around. You kind of see people for what they are, and I'm everyone's best friend when I'm intoxicated. Sure. Whereas when I'm sober, I'm just like,
Nicole, she's a party girl. Hey, our friend Nicole.
Totally. I was the girl who came out of the women's restroom with 3 people with oh my God, we're all going to hang out now, and made all these plans that I committed to.
Make a lot of drunk friends that never call them again.
Right. And then, it's just so much going on. I love the being sober and making a plan that I actually want to do and can look forward to and actually follow through on. And Yeah, when you're drunk, it's just,
I used to, towards the end, I blacked out every time I drank. Did you experience that?
I've had several blackouts, but I'd say my blackout drunk's for the weekend.
it's good to be reasonable.
Yeah, be reasonable.
Save it for the weekend.
See, it scared me because I had other people defining what I did, and I couldn't remember what I did.
I think blackout drunk is all I did for the last year.
Really?
And then I started erasing my own text messages, and people would be mad at me, but I'd erase them while I was blackout so that I couldn't see the next morning what I said. So, yeah, I really needed Odyssey. I've become a person I can be proud of rather than super embarrassed by.
Right. And chaos and drama, did that follow you through your drinking days?
Quite a bit, yeah. I've managed to stay out of trouble for the most part. But I've done a lot of dumb things.
Like,
I've gotten trespassing tickets for getting kicked out of houses and going back to the party. DUIs, just making friends at the bar, going home with people I don't know, then trying to find my way home. Just doing dumb, drunk things.
how many DUIs?
I've had 3.
Is that why you were in jail?
Yeah, all alcohol related. My first DUI I actually got on my way to work when I was like 25, 26.
What scared me about driving drunk, luckily, I moved downtown so I could walk drunk and not get a DUI because I would have lost my job. But what scared me whenever I did occasionally drive after I was drinking and then blacked out was I don't think I would have known had I hit and killed somebody, which is a scary, scary thought.
Yeah, it's scary to think how many times I've been just wasted. I'm lucky I haven't hurt anybody myself.
Right. I think people think, you're a DUI, like you're this evil person, and you are, like, you shouldn't get behind the wheel when you've been having alcohol. But I've had a DUI, and it was the most shameful experience of my life that I put other people's life in danger.
Yeah.
And I just hope that people can see how serious we take it. But I don't remember mine. I was blackout.
Just think what that would have done to your entire life. First of all, you'd be in prison for a long time, but the way it would make you feel killing an innocent person,
Oh my gosh.
No,
Yeah.
The guilt would drive me insane. Yeah.
that would cause you to drink.
If you weren't in prison, yeah.
Unless you were. But I used to, because I used to, if I wasn't blackout drunk, I don't think I would drive, but maybe I didn't remember. But every time I'd drive by a cop, I used to sit there holding the wheel straight and are you going the speed limit and that kind of stuff. And when I got sober and I'd pass a cop, I'd sort of look at them, and I was hoping that they'd stop me and give me a sobriety test because it'd be the first time that I could succeed in that.
Yeah.
Super, super cocky driving by a cop because you're sober.
Well, I was so scared before,
I think I'm always scared when I see police for no reason. But yeah, I can remember driving. I didn't drive intoxicated. I would drive the next day to go to the liquor store when I had sobered up all day. I would sober up just enough to drive to the liquor store. And I would make sure in my head I was sober. And I can just remember saying things like 10 and 2 and in the lanes. And I just, feeling it and driving on the freeway. I don't know what I was thinking.
I hate to quote from the AA Big Book, but they talk about the feeling of freedom you have with sobriety. Do you get that at all?
Yeah, just talking to people, I don't have to be as self-conscious about them smelling the alcohol in my breath.
Or are you slurring your words? Or
yeah, and just not being an idiot.
Well, what I liked is you don't have to hide anything.
Yeah.
Have you been drinking? No, no. Just, I mean, you don't have to, you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I was funny, but I'm pretty sure I was just not that funny.
Fun is a different, people have different versions of fun, I think. And when it comes to being crazy and drinking at bars and stuff like that, I guess that's one version, like the movie Animal House or something. I mean, that's one version of crazy fun. But there's a lot of other fun.
Yeah, I'm not 20 years old anymore, so.
That's, that, but it takes a while to realize that, you know.
Yeah, I had to learn the hard way, but hopefully I'm on the right track.
Yeah. I can't imagine that this can't be anything but a good start, especially if you can handle adult house. Downtown house is very crowded, so I think it teaches you a lot.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of patience and dealing with disappointment and good days, bad days.
Well, and that's part of life.
Yeah, it is. It's just kind of a microcosm of it, and you're in a little bit of a bubble.
Yeah. So you're going to stick with the program?
Yeah, until I get through the sober living and save up enough to get back on my feet and all that. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. I think you pick up, you know, you talked about going through treatment programs, and people that I've talked to before who have gone through several, now that they're sober and one of them kicked in and worked, they say they picked up something from each one. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, I guess it's the toolbox. Put different tools in your toolbox. I mean, I'm sober now, so I do remember things. So yeah, you pick up what you can from everywhere you go. It's just part of life. And you can never gain enough knowledge and just, yeah, apply what you can. And if it works, it works. If not, then try again.
What's the best tool you've picked up so far, do you think?
Stop blaming others. I'm here because I got myself here.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I blamed I think everybody who's addicted to something blames other people for their, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's natural. Child trauma, anything like that, you lean on that. And then if it's the fault of your parents for whatever happened when you were a kid, then it's not your fault, and that feels better.
I think it's part of the shame we all feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of shame and guilt. And,
you know, and so it's easier to face shame and say, well, the reason I'm doing this is I feel shameful about it, but you made me do this.
yeah, stop making excuses.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I hope it works for you.
Yeah, me too.
And when you succeed, please come back and do another podcast and talk about how everything is working and how good life is, because it will be.
That's the plan, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being our guest. Good to see you again, Nicole.
You too.
And sharing some of your blackout stories. But you don't
They're
remember
my
them, so
better stories, yeah.
details sort of suck on that.
It's like time travel.
Yes. And thank you for watching or listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals.